What's even crazier than babies making moms and dads?
Babies giving us you and me.
In honor of Father's Day on Sunday, I made a video on the origins of the word of father, dad, and papa. I'm so excited about this topic of the origin of the word of dad because in order to explain it, we have to talk about phonetics and childhood development, two things that I absolutely loved studying in university. So, without further ado, let's get started. Father comes from the Proto-Indo-European pater, which turned into Old English fada. One theory is that the p prefix came from the Proto-Indo-European word to shepherd or to protect, and ter was an agent marker for nouns. We can see this ter agent marker in words like daughter and sister today. Pater was the more formal word for father, and ato was a less formal, maybe more like dad. In translations of the Bible into the Old Proto-Indo-European language Gothic, ato is used more often than pater. But ato didn't really evolve into anything in English, and pater did. Neither of these words, though, is the origin of the word dad. Let's first do some crash course phonetics. This is a vowel quadrilateral. Without getting too nerdy, trust me, I really want to, basically different vowels are made depending on what you do with your lips and your tongue. The easiest sound to make, and a sound that babies make, is this ah sound. You really just have to vibrate your vocal folds and open your mouth and ah. Babies make this sound all the time. But when babies want to mix it up, probably the first consonant sound they make is an sound. The consonants are made by disrupting the airflow in some way. So if you're going all you basically have to do is shut your mouth and press that air through your lips and you get an sound. Something that a baby might make while he or she is nursing. The baby suddenly goes ma 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 while looking at its mother, and the mother goes, "Mama, the baby said my name." And from then on, the mother refers to herself as mama. Similarly, when the baby is cooing or having a good time, it's likely that the baby is making a sound like ba 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 ba, which is almost the same as the sound, except you open your lips after you close them. Ba. For our purposes today, B and P sounds are the same, and T and D sounds are the same. And if you think about it, they're made almost the same way, the same tongue and mouth position. Baby's probably going ba 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 or pa pa pa, and if the baby's feeling frisky, she or he might put their tongue a little bit farther back on the ridge of their mouth behind their front teeth and tap it and go ta 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 da da da, and suddenly that word gets associated with the person who is second closest normally to the baby, which is the father, and it's dada or papa. This theory of how mama and papa, mom and dad, came into the English language is the most widely held belief. One reason for this is the fact that languages all over the world have an incredibly similar word for parents. Take, for example, Welsh, tad, Irish, dad, Lithuanian, tete, Sanskrit, tata, Czech, tata, Latin, tata, Greek, tata. Not only these Proto-Indo-European languages, but here's a list of non-Proto-Indo-European languages and their word for dad. Also, these sounds p, o, b, t, o, d, and the a vowel are basically universal in every single language and easy for every single baby that's born to make. Dad in English was first recorded in the 15th century, but it's presumed that babies and children had been calling their fathers dad for much longer than that. Papa came to English from the French in the 1600s. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, the word papa was first used for courtly speech, and then it was used by more common folk in the 18th century. But if you don't like the baby theory to explain the origin of the word dad, Here's a few other options for you. Dad can be traced from the Proto-Indo-European word ato that I said before. It's possible that these sounds were rearranged to tata. Dad could also be related to the Low German deta, meaning grandfather. But even going all the way back to Proto-Indo-European, you can't avoid the baby theory. Some linguists argue that little babies, thousands of years ago, babbling, saying ma 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 and ba ba ba, someone took this ba ba or papa and added the suffix to make it a noun, ter, and you got pater. So you can't avoid it, folks. Speaking of pater, that is the origin of the word patron. And I just started my Patreon page. If you're interested in being a patron of my channel, then feel free to click the link in the description. See? It's all related. But what's even crazier than babies making dads?
Babies giving us you and me.
If we take into account that t and d and s are basically the exact same sound, and p and b basically the same sound, and then we have the sound. Looking at languages, even non-Proto-Indo-European languages, we see that me and you almost always start with one of those consonants. You might be saying, no, in English this isn't true. It is true. Me and thou, which came from the word tau. We have it too. Linguists explain that likely when people were coming up with personal pronouns, the sounds are things very close to you. Mama, milk, me, meal. Then the things that are associated with the ta-ta-ta sound at the ridge of the mouth are associated with things not quite right beside you, but very, very close. You and that person who doesn't feed you but is there and loves you. Your dad. Take a look at all of these languages and their personal pronouns. In German, you have mich und dich. In French, you have moi et toi. In Turkish, you have ben and sen. The words we use to call our parents are almost as universal and as long-lasting as having parents. What do you call your father in your native language? Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, and I will see you next Tuesday.